Hello, welcome to the Wasting Time podcast. We are at episode 71. How's it going, Nick?
Yes, very good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad. Not bad.
What's been happening?
I've been trying to sell my flat. I have been trying to sort out a trip at the end of October. Those have been like the main things in my life. What about yourself?
I was actually in London at the weekend, but I didn't see you. That's a bit of a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, you didn't even tell me.
Well, I did tell you.
I joke. He did tell me.
I figured
he gave me plenty of notice.
The fact was, I'm going to see you in 2 weeks' time anyway. It's kind of like
exactly
supported that decision.
Yeah.
It was a bit tight on time, but yeah, I was down in London for a disco festival.
How was that?
Which was fun. Yeah. Lots of dancing, lots of drinking though as well. So getting older, harder to get over these type of events. But yeah, it was good. It's good to be back in London. My first time. Well, I can't remember the last time I was in London. A couple of years ago now.
Probably when you first started doing this podcast with me, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the tickets were originally booked to come down a long time ago, and I just had to kind of use up the rail vouchers that had been refunded because of like the pandemic or the cancellations. So, not much has changed with London. Still the same. It's still there. Yeah, you're coming up north in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, so we are going to a gig together for the first time in a long time. When was the last time you and me went to a gig?
Oh man, you probably definitely know which one it was. I'm going to say, I don't know, Good Charlotte.
I think you're probably right, actually, unless we count Red City Radio, when you primarily came down to watch my band at the time that was opening for them. But
yeah,
that was the last small gig. But big scale gig was Good Charlotte at Brixton nearly 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
Canal.
So this time we're going up to see. Well, our friend Rob is playing in Elvana, who we've mentioned on the podcast before. And Love Breakers are supporting, which will be the first time. Obviously, well, we talk about Love Breakers a lot on this show ever since we had them on, and it'll be the first time that we see them live, which I think we're both looking forward to.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Been looking forward to that moment for a long time. So, and yeah, good it's in the northeast, and good that we're together for it, and good that we get to see our old drummer Rob as well. I mean, yeah. should be a good night. Although I have heard from Rob himself that Elvana do a 2-hour set, which I'm slightly concerned about.
Have you never seen Elvana before?
I've never seen Elvana.
Well, I have seen Elvana many times at this point. You know, whenever they come through London, I always go along to see them.
Has the set got bigger as the years have gone on?
The set's always outstayed its welcome. It's always been horrendously long, and like I don't feel bad. You know, I say this to Rob's face, and he takes it well. You know. Yeah,
Rob's not actually approving of the 2-hour set himself, so I don't think. So you're definitely not offending him.
No, it's a very long slog. So yeah, be prepared. But I kind of come and go when they're playing. You know.
Okay, cool. Well, if we get all access passes, let's hope we got a good rider then.
Yeah,
we can just make use of that during the 2-hour set.
Sounds like a plan. Do we have anything? Oh yeah, I sent you some songs that we could have potentially discussed in this intro. Have you had a chance to listen to any of them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Briefly.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's something we can fill this void with before we get to the interview.
Yeah, I mean the Last Gang stuff. Oh, I think I sent you them a while ago, didn't you?
You did,
sung by those guys, and knew there was an album coming. But yeah, I'd had no idea the new record was out. So thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem. Came out last Friday. What did you think of it?
I need to give it a bit more time, but it sounds great. Sounds right up my street.
Yeah.
Kind of got that Distillers stroke Interrupters kind of vibe with the female vocals, and just good poppy punk rock, I think, really.
Yeah.
Not like, I mean, it's not pop punk, but poppy punk rock, is that a thing? Or am I just making
that?
Up?
You are making that up.
You get what I'm saying, though, right?
Like
Interrupters. You wouldn't say Interrupt as a pop punk. You wouldn't say Interrupt as punk rock. You would kind of say that poppy punk rock.
Yeah, so you are making it up, but I completely understand what you mean.
You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think they're a similar style.
Yeah. It's a certain stream of punk that you get, isn't it? It's not polished like pop punk, but it is kind of it's the kind of sound that belongs on Fat Records, which it is on this case, or on Hellcat, like the Interrupters are.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know a lot about the band, to be honest with you. Let's see, other than, Fat Mike's kind of sounded them out. But
yeah, I saw Yotam produced it as one of the producers on it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, Yotam was in Useless ID, so he's one of them. Let me just look at the credits here. Yeah, so get this. So it's produced by Yotam, Fat Mike, and Cameron Webb. So it's kind of that's a pretty good team they had there.
Nice. Okay, that's a shame we didn't even think to.
I know. I didn't know it. I don't remember him mentioning it in terms of stuff he's done recently as well. So yeah, that's a shame we didn't talk to him about it. But maybe this band could be a good sort of future guest actually. So we can ask them their side of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what they got. I don't know. Any idea how long they've been an item for?
No, but I'm looking at their page on Tidal,
and they haven't got a great deal. They didn't have a great deal of material when I kind of stumbled across them after like Fat Mike posted about them. So
yeah, this is their second full length, and the first one was only 2018, so it doesn't seem like they've been around too long.
Nice one. Yeah, no, definitely. Let's see if we can get one of them on here, right?
Yeah. And there was a couple of songs I really liked on this album. So,
what's the record called for our
listeners? It is called Noise, 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 and it's on Fat Records, and the band is called The Last Gang. So check that out. Yeah,
cool. I'm definitely going to get into it a bit more this week.
Cool, me too. And I sent you 2 singles. What do you think of them? I sent you Point North.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a promising sign for Point North.
It's not for me. Not my jam.
Have you listened to much of their other stuff?
Yeah. They're good. I mean, this is definitely sounds. Excuse me. Sounds a bit more of the kind of overproduced, overpolished kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas I guess the older stuff was a bit less so. Not really my thing. I assume you're a fan. Judging by that reaction.
No. I this one, not so much. It's all right. They've had one because they've had a couple of singles this year, and there is one called Nice Now or something, which is really good. Really good. I mean, it sounds like they're shifting their sound to sound like that whole Machine Gun Kelly strand of pop punk, but it's done very well. I think you'd like that song definitely.
Cool. Okay.
And then finally, Nothing Nowhere had a song. Like Nothing Nowhere, there's loads of hype about that guy. I didn't really get it at all. Whereas this song is just straight up pop punk, which is
it's a decent track actually. And I hadn't heard of him at all, if I'm honest, and listened to some of the other stuff, and I was just like, not really feeling the other stuff. But that song definitely is a standout. What's it called again?
Pieces of You, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he kind of shifts in this direction, I'll be more interested in him because I haven't. Yeah, I couldn't get into him prior to this.
Yeah, no, it's a good song. I saw he'd done that track with Kenny Hoopla as well.
Yeah.
Who was still yet to come on this podcast.
Yeah.
Even though he was booked.
He was booked. Last I spoke to the publicist, they said we can have him in February when he's back over. Apparently, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to hold them to that.
We'll win back round.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam Fender released his new album.
Yeah.
Last weekend, and it's been tipped to go straight to number 1 actually this Friday. So.
Is it good?
I mean, his strongest songs are the ones that have already been released. I would say. It's got a couple of.
Okay, that's always a bit disappointing.
Couple of other good ones on there. But yeah, go check it out. Local lad, doing well. Hopefully number 1 this weekend. Getting into this episode.
Yeah, so we had Nick Thompson, singer of Hit the Lights and his own solo project, Thief Club. Nick and I have been fans of Hit the Lights for years and years, so this is always going to be a fun one for us, and turned out it was. So here is our chat with Nick Thompson. How should we do this? When I'm addressing one, how am I going to do this? Shall I say, I'm going to say...
just say Nick, and I'll just not acknowledge being called Nick. I'll just not be called Nick for the next hour.
Nick Thompson, I'm just going to address you as Nick, and this Nick, the other Nick, I'll say wasting time, Nick, when I need to speak
Nick,
to you. Okay, let's do it that way. So Nick, massive thanks for your time. Haven't had a chance to say that yet. Thanks for
absolutely.
Doing this,
thanks
man.
for having me on. Appreciate it, guys.
I guess. Do we want to start? Go back to what we were just talking about there, kind of where you are in the world right now, and
that seems a good place to start.
Yeah, sure.
What life looks like at the moment.
Yeah, I live in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, right by the beach here with my wife and 2 cats and a dog, and it's lovely. I have no complaints. I was just telling you guys, our 2020 was a bit different from a lot of other places because we didn't have a big mass or like a lockdown or anything. Our stuff was opened up in May of 2020. We were like one of the first places. So while we were like a COVID hotspot at the same time, it was relatively normal aside from wearing some masks, which I know is way different from most of my friends and in different parts of the country and the world. So I couldn't complain. I was telling you guys in retrospect now, looking back, I'm grateful that, it wasn't such a weird, oppressive time for us. We kind of lucked out with it.
I mean, did you have much was it bad in the way of fatalities there as a result, or was it okay?
It wasn't too bad. I mean, we were a hot spot for a while, just because, especially too, when you're the first people to open up, like everyone comes there. So like we did our quarantine, and our quarantine was awesome because we had beautiful weather, and like your beaches had never been cleaner. I could like walk my dog everywhere, when it's usually supposed to be busy, and it was just like, that was awesome. But as soon as we opened back up, everyone just flocked here and just trashed the place. Didn't give a fuck. We've been a hot spot a couple times for COVID stuff, but that being said, a lot of other places have too. But in the grand scheme of things, it's, I think my wife eventually, she caught COVID this past month. So we had a really good run where she caught it, and I obviously was in quarantine with her because she had it. But I only lost my sense of taste and smell, and that was the least of my worries too. So we had a very mild experience, thankfully, because I was vaccinated. So I think that really helped. But yeah, so we kind of lucked out as long as we could with that, and then it finally got us eventually. But
and presumably you're both okay now.
We're okay.
It was just a mild brief.
We made it through. Yeah, we did have my father-in-law. He almost died.
Oh,
he got it, and he had one of those things where a lot of these people, especially when they're bigger people too, you guys might know this as well, but it just puts you down and you don't move at all, and what happens is your lungs end up filling up with a lot of fluid, and pneumonia hits the lungs, and if you don't go to the doctor in time to start getting that treated, you're done for. They'll put you on a vent, and if they can get your oxygen levels up, they intubate you, and once they intubate you, you're pretty much just going to be brain dead, and they'll let you go. So it got right on the verge for him, and that's what's been happening to a lot of people who end up succumbing to this. So scary shit.
Yeah, out the other side, hopefully now. Was much impacted for you? What changed for you when everything stopped? I guess really, did you have much in the works from music wise? What was that initial impact like for you?
So we started off 2020. It was awesome because I have a little side project called Thief Club, and I was able. Our friend Masa, who runs the label over there, brought Thief Club over to do a couple shows in Japan. So I took my wife and I got to take my friends, and we spent like a week and a half. I guess 2 weeks technically in Japan. Right when stuff started to get really weird, like my wife and I stayed for an extra week by ourselves in Tokyo, and we were just watching the news, and things were getting.
Should we go home or not?
Yeah, we would see like the U.S. news and stuff like that, and obviously Trump was on saying like it was nothing and it's a Democratic hoax. But then we're also seeing all the other news outlets from around the world saying like shit's getting bad. We're like, are we gonna get stuck over here? So we got back pretty much right before the world shut down. I had some stuff booked for Hit the Lights and Thief Club that obviously all shut down. and I just kind of had to reevaluate everything. I got into live streaming for a bit, which I feel a lot of people kind of fell into that too.
Sure.
And that was a lot of fun. I should still do more of it. And then from there, I kind of ended up. That's when I kind of decided to start learning how to just record everything myself because I couldn't go anywhere to record my own songs. I'd always like to. I love to take my songs to producers and just get all my stuff out and then make them do all the work of mixing and shit. That's the best thing in the world. Just leave it and then let them deal with me. But for this pandemic, that's kind of pushed me to, it's like, all right, well, you have nothing else to do and time to do it. So it's time to learn what you should have learned a long time ago. So
Well, I mean, what have you been using?
I just use Logic Pro.
Yeah.
Logic Pro has been great. And yeah, just recently recorded and released my first Thief Club song. I've been doing a lot of songwriting and features and stuff for other people. And yeah, it's been a new little adventure for me. And, you know, COVID sucks, but I can definitely thank it for pushing me where I probably should have been going anyway.
Okay, so that Holy City, is that the first Thief Club song that was essentially
That's all me
by you?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. We'll get into that a bit more, I think, as we get on with this. One thing I did want to, I noticed that you did the other week, you made it to Riot Fest, right? Just wanted to ask you a little bit about that before we get into other stuff.
It was a lot of fun. That was my first Riot Fest. Hit the Lights was supposed to be on a couple years, and we always ended up having tours that had proximity clauses, so we weren't able to do Riot Fest, which is a bummer. It's still on our bucket list for something for HTL to do. But my wife had been going for years before, so she got tickets, I think it was 2019 for 2020, and obviously got pushed back, so we finally ended up going. I don't know if you guys have been to Chicago, but Chicago is an amazing city. Some of my family's from there. It's awesome. Chicago is just a wonderful city, so it was nice to go and revisit it.
Was it like your first kind of big show or festival that you've done after everything? Yeah,
absolutely. And it was funny being on the other end too of just there to watch,
being a punter. Yeah.
But what was nice is all my friends, especially Kevin from Hit the Lights. He plays in a band called Joywave, so I got to see Joywave for the first time. Got to see Kevin. I would just be walking around. I get texts from all my friends, past touring friends, "Yo, are you at Riot Fest?" You know, they ended up working for all the bands that were there, so I got to see a ton of my friends I never expected to see too, which was fucking awesome.
Well, that's just cool. Extra special, isn't it, now as well? Those, and we talked about it a lot over the last year or so, that when things open again, there'll be just a real buzz and appetite for live music, and
absolutely
actually be there is just just cool in itself,
Yeah, and everyone was great there. I've been to a lot of other kind of festivals, but they were different things like EDM festivals and stuff like that. And everyone's always very nice, obviously, and all on nice friendly drugs and stuff. So I was curious how this one was going to be. But weed is recreational and legal in Chicago, so you just smell weed all day, and everyone was super nice, even security and stuff. Everyone was great. The festival's run so smoothly. With all the work that goes into that kind of stuff, I'm just, especially with checking vaccination cards and all that stuff, they ran it really smooth. I was very impressed.
Nice. Who were some of the standout acts that you saw?
Well, I got to see Slipknot for the first time. I've listened to Slipknot since I was in high school, so that was cool to finally get to see them. Fever 333 was always going to be sick. Excited to see them. I was excited to see Joywave because I hadn't got to see Kevin play with them yet. They were awesome. Ghost Inside fucking ripped. That was great to see them. Devo played, and I had no idea how many people give a shit about Devo.
Yeah.
Dude, they had a massive crowd. Everyone was so happy. I was like, who are you people? Why are we listening to Devo? But it was wonderful. So I think, what else stand out? Run the Jewels. My wife and I are huge Run the Jewels fans, so it was great to get to see them. They always put on a fucking killer show and are very positive, have very, very wise and inspiring things to say on stage. So that was a lot of fun. But overall, it was just great. Gogo Bordello. I mean, Anthrax got to play a little bit. It was such a wild lineup of just a plethora of different genres. It was very cool.
Cool. I guess, Chris, should we just kind of maybe look forward a little bit before we kind of go back? I mean, what we generally do with these things, Nick, is just kind of a bit of a walk through, I guess, the history of your career and Hit the Lights and the walk through the ages. But maybe just where we are at the moment. I mean, let's look forward a little bit. You want to talk a little bit about Thief Club and that starting up and where you see that going? And I guess we can get into what the future of Hit the Lights looks like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pandemic and what have you.
Sure. Thief Club kind of started out as it was really a way to get just a bunch of songs that I had written off my chest. Hit the Lights, we signed to Universal, and we're on Universal for about 3 years, just writing, trying to get the okay for a record. So in that process, there were a lot of songs that I had written that I really liked, but they just didn't work, with what we were going for.
Right.
And I think, especially after our Universal experience, where you're just in with different producers all day and so many songwriters that all have different ways to do it. And me personally, and I think some of the other guys can relate to, was just mentally drained and just not confident in my songwriting anymore. Took a year off of music completely with that because we were just, depleted from all that. And I think slowly I kind of came to my senses and brought myself back to writing music just for the love of it, rather than trying to write for the radio or write for someone else. And that's where a lot of these older songs that I wrote for Hit the Lights that didn't work out came into play. And I was like, I'm going to get these released just kind of for my own sanity, to get it out there, so I can move on as a songwriter too, get these ideas out and bring those to fruition. And then I can kind of move on with what the next step is for Hit the Lights and myself. So that's how that came about. I went to Rob Freeman, who did a ton of Hit the Lights stuff, an amazing producer. And he helped me kind of bring these songs to life. And people liked them, which was really great. I never planned to tour on it or anything like that. It was always just a creative outlet for me. And that's kind of where it's been since. There hasn't been really any style or genre I was going for. It's whatever I wanted to write, Thief Club could be an outlet for that. And that's kind of where it's been. It's been a very, I would say, unfocused project of just releasing things in my own time with songs that I like. But I think I'm getting ready to take a new turn with it too. I finally have an idea of where I want Thief Club to go in the future. So I'm excited. I'm doing a little rebranding, and I'm going to get real weird with it. Real weird.
Nice. It's been a while now, actually, because I think those first songs appeared probably 2013, the year after Invicta.
Yeah.
So we're going on for it's 8 years, I guess.
It gets weird. It's getting weird real fast. So now I've just taken on slowly recording my own stuff, mixing my own stuff, just cracking into that whole can of worms that is can be scary. It's a lot.
So now, the live thing's opening up again. I mean, you say you started it as just a writing piece really for you and releasing it, and I mean, can you see now potentially getting that into venues somewhere? Or
and I think what really, I mean, I'm really happy at my house, being at home with my little family and stuff. So if I am going to go out to do any type of touring, it needs to be something that's worth it. Probably do a couple days or so, because I am really far away from everyone else in the band too. I'm the only one down here, kind of secluded in Myrtle Beach. So when we book shows and stuff, there's a lot that goes into it, a lot of money that's going to go into bringing all my stuff up there, getting everyone together, the practice and stuff. So once everyone, I guess, is confident enough with the time, and if we have some shows that make sense, we'll do it. And we were originally supposed to do shows in 2020. We had some in the spring, but obviously that all got canceled. So there's always that possibility now. It just has to make sense, and it's got to be enough to want to get me out of my comfort zone down here.
Wasting time, Nick. Shall we? I can't believe I remembered to say that.
Nice.
I don't know about you, but I've got a few questions throughout the career of Hit the Lights per se that I wouldn't mind asking this Nick. Yeah, should we kind of dive into it like that? And Nick, I promise this isn't just going to be a tedious walkthrough of the career. There's little things throughout the thing that hopefully you won't be asked a million times before, but we'll do our best. Yeah,
I appreciate
should we dive into that. Wasting time, Nick. Do you think?
Yeah, go for it, mate. I mean, yeah. Did you have any thoughts on where you wanted to start?
Yeah. Well, I suppose
right at the start.
Well, not necessarily right at the start, because from my experience of Hit the Lights, obviously you kind of it felt like you exploded on the scene in sort of 2006, but I guess you'd been going for a couple of years then, because I remember there was the EP, and I want to say the likes of Absolute Punk were all over that, but I feel like
Sure.
the record started with a reference to a bad review you'd had on Absolute Punk or something like that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, the call out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so. Like, I think a lot of people in the scene were talking about Hit the Lights. You were getting on some tours and stuff, and then you put out that first record. But yeah, that's right. You kind of referenced like someone who gave you a bad review, which I remember thinking was so cool at the time. But I'm remembering that right, am I?
So edgy, dude. So edgy. We'll get you. Talk shit about my music. Yeah, that's so funny. So Hit the Lights, technically, I think started in 2003. They started as a 4-piece. I joined in 2004.
Okay.
Before I hit the band, they did have one EP that they recorded. It was like a 4-song EP. It was called, I think, Leaving Town Tonight. And that's where songs like At 6, We Go Live, and what else? Loose Lips Sink Ships. Some of the songs ended up on our next EP, which was Until We Get Caught. Kind of came from that. But Until We Get Caught was the first one where I was in the band and writing songs with the guys.
Okay.
And that took off on Smart Punk. You guys remember Smart Punk?
Yeah,
They're still doing shit.
Are they right? Yeah.
Yeah, they're releasing vinyl and stuff for a lot of bands now, I see. But that's, I think we ended up like number 1 on Smart Punk, which was like the Ohio kid's dream. Like, fuck yeah, because we started this band, Hit the Lights, just to get out of Ohio, So like our idea of making it was like, yo, if we can get to Chicago and sell out a show in Chicago, like that's it. Like we've done it. So there was such a great reaction to that EP. We had a bunch of labels approach us. Ended up settling on Triple Crown. Shout out to Fred Feldman, one of the best dudes in the game. And yeah, that's when we ended up going and recording Stick Up, and then just touring our asses off for, 2 years until we broke Colin.
Yeah.
And then had that little kerfuffle where we looked for a singer for, a year until we just settled on me because we really had no other choice. And shout out to Fred Feldman from Triple Crown again. He gave us the freedom to just make the record we wanted. We went with Rob Freeman, took a chance with that dude who, was still up and coming at the time, and he just murdered it. And the rest is kind of history. And then Skip School did even better, which was a shock for, I think, everyone.
I was about to say, kind of what age were you at the time where you were just kind of starting to navigate your way around that Ohio thing and getting together? Was it you were still high school, kind of?
Right out of high school. I remember we played a skate and surf festival, and we played at the Stone Pony, this bar, and as soon as I got done, I had to just go and wait in the van because I was under 21. So everyone got to go out and party, and I just had to hang out in the van.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So Stone Pony is in like Bruce Springsteen fame, like the
correct.
men's
Asbury
image
Park in New
reference.
Jersey, and that's where Skate and Surf was. Skate and Surf was renamed later Bamboozle. I don't know if you guys hear that.
Yeah.
Fucking killer fest. I don't think they do it anymore. And maybe they'll bring it back at some point, but yes, fucking killer fest.
Okay, I mean, I feel like you skirted over This Is a Stick Up like a bit there, but I mean, because for me that was, I got into Hit the Lights at that point and was a huge standout record for me at the time. I mean,
awesome.
Like, how did that record develop? How did you, I guess, write it, record it? I mean, can that just tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, writing process was after, we ended up signing with Triple Crown. Obviously, we were writing a bunch of songs. And we were just grooving. We all were there together in a room. I was thinking it was me, Colin, and Omar that really hashed out like a bunch of the stuff. As far as that goes, I think we knew we had something special. Especially like playing like Body Bag the first time and stuff too.
Yeah.
Like the it's like, oh, this is fucking, I think this might be something. And from there we got to choose producer, and we went with Matt Squire, who at the time he had done The Receiving End of Sirens. And he had just done Panic at the Disco, their first record, Fever That Won't Quit or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but he had worked under Brian McTernan, which was a huge producer in our day who'd done everything from Thrice, Fairweather, The Strider, just so many of these bands that we grew up with. So Matt Squire at the time had moved into Brian McTernan's old studio, which was Salad Days, which again had the amount of like Cave In, dude, just the amount of amazing bands that did records in that recording studio. It was a dream to like just fucking be there. Be like, holy shit, we're writing this record, in this place with all of our favorite bands. This is the first time with like a real producer too, who was, had no problem tearing apart our songs and telling us we suck.
Sure. Yeah.
Which at the time, like we're wide-eyed Ohio kids, so we're just like, this is amazing.
So
like,
you were receptive to that. You weren't.
Oh
like,
yeah,
all,
absolutely.
like, precious about it. That's always good. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a learning experience too. The more you work with producers and stuff, the more you kind of learn, where you want to put your foot down or where you need to open your mind a little and listen and try new things. But it was a very positive experience. Matt was probably the best producer we could ask for, and it was in Belleville, Maryland, right outside of DC, and it was October, beautiful weather. And we just drank 40s and made a record, and it was awesome.
Good times.
Yes. I can't do 40s anymore. I'm too old. But
I guess the same year of that record. And I assume these were your first times in the UK, because I remember seeing you came over and played the Barfly in Camden in London.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like...
I saw you at Glasgow Academy, I'm sure, with Newfound around that.
Yeah, well, that was after. Well, maybe it was around. It must have been the same trip.
Yes, it was. So the Barfly was our one-off from the tour with Early November and NFG, which in itself was fucking. NFG was obviously a huge inspiration for us. So the fact that we got to go over them, that was our first time overseas. I remember getting on that double-decker bus we had. My mind was fucking blown. It was amazing. And then the energy that you guys over there brought to like all the shows. I remember that Barfly show. It was like our first one off, and it was sold out, and it was fucking insane. And we were just like, this is incredible. And the UK's always been like that for us. It's always been so receptive, and they just go nuts, and we appreciate that.
I guess from obviously Stick Up came out and really blew up, and you say touring went crazy from that point onwards. I mean, was there anything? I mean, what was the trigger? I mean, what would you say kind of got you kind of that recognition and got you on these big tours? Was there a defining moment at any point?
Well, we had a great team. We had a booking agent, Matt Galley, who was booking for tons of people from Mike Kim and stuff like that too. So we had our team that was able to get us on these amazing tours. I think our first official tour that we ever did for the team was with Piebald and Hot Rod Circuit.
Oh, nice!
And that was fucking amazing. And then from there we went to I think Hello Goodbye. That was when Hello Goodbye that was insane in itself. They put us on all types of tours. We toured nonstop for about 2 years. Obviously got on the Newfound Glory tour. Over here, Cartel was on it as well.
Yeah.
We just got on those perfect tours that put us right in front of the right audience, where we could just go out there and rip, and everyone was like, ah! So it was awesome. We just lucked out on having a good team and picking good tours. And obviously that's like 90% of exposure.
And I suppose you were just kind of joining like a genre that it was really kind of, well, would you say it was at its peak? Or definitely around that time,
Well, let's see. Newfound had just released Coming Home, which is...
Well, maybe a little bit later on then, yeah?
Yeah. So they did Coming Home, which was a record I don't think anyone expected from them, and still one of my favorite Newfound Glory records. It's the tops for me. But I think they had come off, Catalyst was the record before that too. They had... I think they were experiencing some growing pains because they were trying to play the new songs and people weren't getting as much into it. So yeah, there was like a little pivoting turning point there. But that being said, Newfound doesn't need any help getting or keeping fans either. But it was one of those tours where you could tell they were kind of like bummed on the reception of a record. We were like, dude, this record's fucking amazing. People, if they don't get it now, they will get it later because you guys have made one of your best records. But yeah, that was a wonderful time. Like I said, Cartel, some of our best friends, they were on that tour. Early November, wonderful friends too. We shared a bus with them in the UK, and it was just everyone on that tour was awesome.
And Nick, speaking of that tour, I promised a friend of mine. Do you remember a guy called Ollie McPherson? I think he toured with you.
I talked to Ollie constantly. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you know him well. He's definitely a talker.
I know Ollie
like,
very well.
yeah, I talk to him on the phone sometimes.
He'll give you his opinion, no problem.
Yeah,
He'll let you know.
yeah, I know him well enough to know that. But like, I hit him up the other day and I said that we had you coming on. So obviously had a couple of things he wanted me to say. So, and
I bet he did.
Yeah, and so on the subject of the Coming Home tour, he says, and I'll read it word for word from his text. Ask him about getting lost in Birmingham on that Coming Home tour. So is there a weird story around getting lost in Birmingham?
Yes. This is like a nice turning point in my life.
Okay.
Because obviously we got to the UK and you guys do some drinking over there, and we like to drink. So one night after, I believe it was in Birmingham. I think we played the Academy, I assume.
Yeah.
But we went out to some bars. I ended up having too many snake bites and
yeah.
coming to, and I was just walking the streets alone somewhere, just totally fucking lost. Had no idea where I was or anything. There's a group of guys coming by, and I asked them, because there was a taxi's coming to and stuff, and I was asking them like they could take me to the Academy, and nobody knew what I was saying. So maybe my speech was so slurred too. I don't remember it being slurred, but I was like, why does no one know where the Academy is? But I was probably like, blah, 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 blah. I asked these gentlemen coming by, there's a group of maybe 5 of them, if they might know where the Academy was. And all I remember is just getting a fist to the face, just like, bam.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, shit, I'm about to get mugged. And I remember the one thing I said after I got hit, I was like, oh, man, that's not cool. And then I got hit again, and that's when just fucking adrenaline hit. Yeah. And, I just kind of like, my system rebooted back online. I was like, yo, you need to get the fuck out of here. And I swung on a guy, hit him, definitely broke my pinky knuckle on that. And then I just took off running. And all I remember is just running as fast as I fucking could, not looking behind me. I didn't care where I was going. I was just fucking taking off. Like, these guys are going to beat my ass. So I run until I cannot run anymore. I turn around, no one's behind me. I don't know if they probably just watched me run off. But I ended up right in front of a police station. And so I go in, I buzz the thing. I tell them I'm an American, I'm lost. And they're like, get a taxi. And I was like, dude, I'm trying. Please, just help me get them. So they let me in. And thankfully, Ollie McPherson and our good friend Evan Thomas, who was our tour manager at the time, obviously everyone arrived back at the bus for bus call, and Nick wasn't there. No one remembers when the last time they saw me was. So they started calling around to police stations, and thankfully, like, yeah, we got a drunk American in here. It says he's Nick. Come get him. So they came and got me. And then the story doesn't end there, because I obviously got back to the bus. Lesson learned. I'm like, well, I just need to fucking take it easy and not be such an asshole when I'm drinking. So I wake up in the morning, and I hear our bus driver, Steve, who's a fucking saint, talking about, he says, your mate pissed on the bus. And as he says that, I get a flashback of myself sleepwalking to the front of the bus on top, because it was a double-decker, and I whip my dick out and just start peeing on the windshield down there. And Steve, the bus driver, we were stopped at like a gas station, I think, but he's just sitting down, waiting for the bus to fill, and he's just seeing this water come down. And he's like, it's not raining. Looks up, and it's me in my fucking drunk, dazed stupor, just pissing down the front of the fucking bus window. And he didn't beat my ass. He didn't yell at me or anything. He fucking apparently cleaned it up. He was such a fucking saint.
Bless him.
Yeah. So I woke in the morning, and after that, I was just like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not drinking to excess like that anymore. And kind of maybe smoke a lot more weed. And that helped me out. That kind of flattened me out. And right. So that was my lesson. It was a terrible one to learn, but one that I definitely needed. And I came back safely, thankfully, and, pissed on a bus. So, USA, yeah.
There you go.
I think, and the other thing Ollie wanted me to mention, I mean, this is just a bit more broad, but he says, Let It Ride tour. Just mention that, because he says that was one of the best tours he's ever done.
Oh, yeah, dude. Wonderful lineup, All-Time Low, Valencia, Just Surrender. All of our best friends were on that. And that was like that was our first headlining tour in the States too.
Oh, nice.
A lot of fun.
Okay, well, I guess I mean, let's just touch on the kind of Colin period and Colin moving on.
Sure.
You say, I mean, was that just got wiped out from like the relentlessness of touring and?
Yeah, the monotony, the relentlessness. I think he was struggling with his faith a little bit too, where he wanted to be. And, we were definitely a party band. So doing that every night after night, and while our band was blowing up, we weren't necessarily making a lot of money either, So while we'd be making money and stuff like that, that would all go to managers and lawyers and stuff. And Colin was a little bit older than all of us too. So I feel like he kind of had that mindset of like, things need to happen sooner for me in order for me to be comfortable. And eventually just settled, as someone who didn't want to be on the road all the time, didn't want to do that, which I totally understand. That's how I am now. So yeah. I think Colin was just ahead of the curve on that, whereas the rest of us were very hungry to keep going.
Yeah.
And just kind of burn him out. He's a talented, wonderful dude. And it's just, in the end, just something that he knew wasn't for him.
Did you see it? Did you see it come in? I mean, were you prepared for it? I mean, what was the initial kind of reaction from you and the rest of the guys? Like,
there'd been a couple more times, periods, even in the middle of making like Stick Up and stuff like that, where he had shown his hesitancy toward really fully committing to this lifestyle, and he had talked about wanting to leave before, so it wasn't shocking. It was more we were bummed. We wanted to have Colin. Obviously, we all loved Colin and. Didn't want him to go. We want him to be with us. But at the end of the day, if he's not happy, he's not happy. There's nothing, we couldn't be mad at him for that at all.
Yeah, of course. So step in Nick Thompson, you say you were like trying to figure out something else out. I mean, what was that? Did you audition anyone? I mean,
we auditioned a bunch of people. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it might have been brought up like once or twice, me maybe taking over vocals, but I've never really sang for a band, and I didn't want to. I was perfectly happy playing guitar, doing my backup vocals. I love doing that.
Yeah.
So we figured, especially this was when MySpace was really blowing up. So we're like, we'll put auditions out and stuff. We have to find someone. There's got to be someone out there. Mm-hmm. And we got tons and tons of auditions and a lot of great people. At the end of the day, not only did we want someone who was talented and kind of the same vision for our songs, but we also needed someone that was going to get along with us. We had a great dynamic already with everyone in the band, and being in a band is a social experiment in itself. You are in a van, close quarters with all these personalities, nonstop, days and days on end, and when someone doesn't mesh with you, that can ruin everything. Put a wrench in a lot of gears in the flow. So
has to be right.
That's kind of absolutely. So that's kind of something we were really unable to find where we were confident in, hey, this person's going to come on and, we have this common goal. We would get one or the other, really talented people that wanted to do maybe different types of songs. Right. Maybe people that weren't as reliable or someone we couldn't really count on. And it went on for about 7 months, which is exhausting. A long time to be searching for a singer. And especially we're a band that was sitting on, a new record we had to put out, and we were losing all of our momentum as well.
Right.
Which is something that really, in the end, pushed us. So me singing at the end of the day was just literally a last-ditch effort, our only option. And it ended up working out because I think that a lot of people already knew that I was in the band, so it helped. It wasn't a new person necessarily stepping in as it was, hey, this guy already, and let's see what he can do. And thankfully, people were really, really open to that. And the rest is kind of history with, the acceptance and stuff. And something I never thought I'd be doing, but I'm thankful I was pushing that direction.
Out right.
Yeah, absolutely.
It did work out. I remember at the time that skip school, start fights, like, I thought it was better than Nick, you were saying how much you loved the first record. I didn't love it. I thought it was all right, but that's when I really started to really be into your band, was upon that second record. I think I thought it was a step up at the time.
And I think that, it was kind of a newer sound from Stick Up, but it was a little more focused. And, coming out of Stick Up, I think we all kind of learned, especially myself, I was kind of starting to learn when I could put my foot down and say, no, this is what it needs to sound like. This is what we need to do, So it was great. And of course, Rob Freeman was, could not have done any of it without Rob. He had such great ideas. The dude's such a talented guy, that getting in a room with him and stuff with all the production was just a blessing. And we had enough time to do it too, so we could really spend our time making sure all these songs were exactly how they needed to be and all fit in together. And like I said, Rob was an invaluable part of that. He really helped to bring those ideas together too.
Yeah, and it was received pretty well as far as I remember, and you guys continued to do decent tours around that time.
We did. We got our team put us on great tours that would just,
yeah.
That's always half of it when you have those record releases. If you don't get on those good tours too, it can really kill a record. And we just had just one after another of these amazing tours we got to be on, and our record ended up doing great again. So it was kind of like, this is nuts.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's happening.
Yeah. And then, so did Universal come on board kind of off the back of that? And
yeah, Universal came. So we had a 2-record deal with 2 records and an option with Fred, and we closed all those out. We ended up doing, for Warped Tour in 2009, we released an EP called Coast to Coast.
Yeah.
That Fred said, hey, I'll put this out for you guys. But he wanted to see us kind of move on to a bigger label as well. In retrospect now, getting on a major definitely wasn't the move we should have done, but being on a major to us at the time was the defining moment of when you had made it.
Yeah.
Like if you had made it to a major label, you did it. And the irony of that is, it's pretty much what ended up killing a lot of our momentum, being stuck on a label trying to write radio songs for a pop punk band when they don't necessarily want a pop punk band. Yeah. And that's the classic. You can hear that all day from every other band that's signed to a major label.
We've heard it from a few guests.
Yeah. We obviously, we like to have these podcasts with guests of a time and that have that nostalgic chat, and there's such a common story of like Will Pugh, for instance. We spoke to Will of Cartel 6 months ago, and just that whole major label dream that is just doesn't work out, right?
Right, yeah. And like I said, we knew all of our favorite bands have gone through the same stuff too, and we just basically just followed right behind. We're like, no, we're gonna be different. Yeah. No, you're not, dude.
And speaking of different, obviously you massively changed the sound for that Invicta record. Was that like a collective thing between all of you, or was like management on board with that, pushing you to do that, or like and then you worked with a lot of songwriters in the build up to that. I seem to remember you guys saying
right. So we had written so many songs for this. A lot of it we started out writing. A continuation of Skip School. And that's not what they wanted to hear. And a lot of the songs that I did for that kind of ended up being Thief Club later on, which you can tell. Obviously you can see the progression. But at the end of the day, like I said, writing with all those writers and stuff, which was very cool, and I learned a lot. And I carry that with me now, is so much knowledge of like different things you can do to songs to spice it up and things to keep in mind. But at the time, once you're told no so many times, you're just like, I can't write songs anymore. I can't, I don't know how to write songs. I don't know what I'm doing. It's easy to lose yourself because you're trying to be something else anyway. They're handing you papers every week with chart stuff. Like, we want you to be Hit the Lights, but, look how Rise Against is doing. Look how Amber Lynn is doing. These are the bands closest to you. So we were writing a lot of these.
It's awful, isn't it? Just to be
rock songs.
They're almost just looking at like what's doing well in the charts and almost saying, look at this. We don't really know much about it in this genre, but this is doing well. So just try and do what they're doing.
And that's major labels, in a nutshell anyway. They're going to try to find and put on whatever fad's working, and they're a big money machine. That's what it's about. So with us, it made it a lot harder. And I think Invicta eventually started coming around. Two of the guys wanted to kind of take it over into that area, a little spacier and stuff.
Yeah. And
some of us were still big on the riffs and stuff. So when you put that all together, you'll have songs like Gravity or Earthquake, stuff like that, where you feel we really kind of embrace the spacey. We want to go for that anthemic songs that the NFL would play on the halftime recaps and stuff like that. And we figured, we wanted that arena sound. We just figured that was the way to go to make it bigger. So once we got released, thankfully, from Universal, we really couldn't go back to just trying to put out a pop punk album because we'd spent the past 3 years writing songs away from that, and that's, just one of the chances you take when you're a band who has a fan base expecting one thing and you release another. Some bands do that and they succeed, brand new. Some bands can just do that. For us, it didn't work out as well. I think a lot of people now getting older like Invicta a lot more.
Yeah.
But I think we were always a little older than some of our fan base too. So we just kind of had to wait for people to kind of grow into that record.
And so were you like fully on board with how it sounded at the time? Were you like, this is really good? And if so, do you feel that way now about it? Or? Yeah,
I do. I don't think it was the right record that we should have released necessarily, but it was the only one that we could release with our experience and everything we'd been through. I'm very proud of that record. I think that we really nailed the sound we were going for. I just don't think it's, when you spend 4 years not doing a record and coming from coast to coast and skip school, you have a fan base that wants to hear your sound because that's what they like you for. And we've always been a band that's more versatile than that. So we really kind of flexed our muscles. We took a chance. We got to go in with Machine, which is an amazing producer, has done like Lamb of God and stuff. So he took over a lot of the harder songs.
Yeah.
Right. And then we went with Mike Sapone for another half, which is done, brand new. I'm skipping on a bunch of stuff. Either way, which, he was able to kind of like do that super raw, spacier sounds. And I don't think that the record in general is like the most cohesive because you can kind of, you can tell exactly what songs went with Machine, what songs went with Mike. But the experience was wonderful. And I think that we really got a lot of our cool song ideas and stuff out. A lot of the concepts for those songs are really out there, and I think it's really cool what we did. A lot of people refer to it as like our Hit the Lights on Weed album, which, joke's on you, we've always been on weed, so but maybe a lot more weed for that album. But I'm very proud of that record. Like I said, I can listen to it, and I love what we did. And I said, I think a lot of people are coming around to it more now as they gotten older, had more time, and have learned to slow down a little bit.
Some of the people, like the outside songwriters that came in, like I remember you said in an interview, I'm sure I read this at the time, maybe, again, apologies, I'm remembering it wrong, but like you said you did it with, you tried to do some songwriting with Tim Pagnotta, but the vibe wasn't really there, which is, and that's crazy for how big a producer he is now, like with some of the stuff he's done, like.
Yep, at the time he was doing really well with Neon...
Oh, Neon Trees, yeah.
He was blowing the fuck up with them. Tim, we had, Omar and I had 2 days with Tim to write a song. First day, we could not see eye to eye on anything.
Oh, really?
I remember spent a whole day kind of picking away trying to write this song. I remember Omar and I driving back to our hotel that night. We're just like, dude, this is rough. Like, I don't want to go back tomorrow. And, dude, the second day, whatever it was, we just fucking clicked off the bat and had the best time.
Oh, nice. Okay.
With Tim. We came up with a song, which was a really cool song. We never released it, obviously. But yeah, we came up with a really cool song and ended up having a great time with Tim, who's a fucking amazing dude. We also did songs with Kenny Vasoli. Yeah,
what's up? Say, maybe he went back home the same night as you and Omar did, and was just like, oh fuck, like
there's no doubt.
There's no work. Like I need to come back tomorrow with a different attitude.
there's no doubt because like it just that vibe was not there. I just remember Omar and I just deflated that night. I was just like, God damn it, this is not working. And then whatever happened the next day, dude, it was the best day. We had a great time, and we just kind of the song just kind of started to unfold. So yeah, and we've got that song somewhere. People always ask if we're going to release these songs. I really don't know. It obviously wasn't a song that was like right to release, but I understand people would want to hear that because it's interesting. Like, yo, here's Hit the Lights and Tim Pagnotta. Here's Hit the Lights and Kenny Vasoli. We also did a song with Andrew McMahon as well.
Oh, right, okay.
Which is a fun song, but it just wasn't right for what we wanted to do.
Oh, you've got to release these songs at some point.
That's what everyone's saying. I will never say never.
Where are you hiding them? Just in a box?
On a hard drive. Got them on a hard drive. It was funny. I was actually cleaning out my computer a month ago or so, and I was obviously backing everything up to a hard drive. So I was just going through memory lane of all these old files I had, all these old demos and stuff too. It was revisiting a lot of them. It was neat.
Well, keep that hard drive safe somewhere.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah.
I guess fast forward then, obviously post Universal, I mean, was Summer Bones the next?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
like 3 years later, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
So I mean, kind of fast forward, kind of. I mean, where were you as a band at the time? Like, what were your ambitions? What were you all doing? And then, kind of, what led you into kind of Summer Bones, I guess.
Yeah, so Invicta came out. We toured on it hard for a year, but we were very burnt out. Obviously, we didn't get the reaction we wanted. I think everyone was just, after the whole experience of all that, going through so many labels, so many contracts, all that stuff, to have that be such a lackluster record just deflated us. We were done.
Yeah.
We were just home. We didn't want to do anything. We took a year or two off. I moved to St. Louis, and we just had time to not do music, which absence makes the heart grow fonder. Absolutely. And Pure Noise approached us about putting out a record.
Yeah.
And I think at the time we were like, because we had talked about just breaking up officially, doing a last hurrah. And I think Omar and I were talking, we're like, yo, let's just go for it. Let's just make this record. Let's make a record that we want to make. Kevin and I had some really good riffs and stuff. We were like, we just know exactly what we want to do with this. We want to make the perfect Hit the Lights Says Goodbye record, if anything. At least we get in there and we make one more thing that we're proud of. So everyone agreed. We got everyone to work out their schedules, so it worked out. And we went and worked with Kyle Black, who was an insane producer, who had done a ton of my favorite records at the time. Just put out a killer Comeback Kid record. And we just basically went back to basics, stripped everything down. It was just us and Kyle in a room in California, just writing songs. Just pure and simple, back to bones, which is kind of where the song Summer Bones came from.
Yeah.
And end up making my favorite record to date. I love that record. I love the sound. Yeah, so that's it. That record came out. We did a little bit of touring, and that's when people in the band started having babies and stuff. And just like, well, time to shut it down for a little bit. Babies need their daddies, and just thankful that we had that release. And that's our last true full band release for now.
You came over here with 4 Years Strong, I think, around the time of the release.
Yes.
And it's funny, you had, what's he called? Ben from Fastlane had to fill in for you a little bit. And I've like in some of my bands, I've played shows with Ben, and I think the last time I saw him was 2018. And you'd recorded some vocals for his band Sharp Bones at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben's a fucking man. He's
a lovely bloke.
Yeah. So what happens when I come over to the UK? Pretty much it happens nonstop. I always get a viral infection in my chest. So there's something over there that just wipes me out. There's nothing I can do about it. It'll give me laryngitis and stuff, but it's just a viral infection that I had to just rest and let it get through me. It's happened countless times before where I've barely been able to make it through tours. That's why now if we go over, it's only for 3 or 4 days or something like Slam Dunk, which I know, I can just stay away from everything. And even by then, 4 days in, I can feel that I get that infection. It's so bizarre. So thankfully, Ben was there to take over when I literally had no voice. And he did such a good job too, and saved my ass.
Well, I saw you at the Camden show, so I think you just come back to take the reins. So I knew he had been doing it, but I saw you doing it.
Yeah, and it couldn't have. I wouldn't have if I didn't have that time to rest that he gave me, like those 2 days. We couldn't have done it. There's no way. But just that 2 days alone, I was able to rest up, got cleared out of that infection, and we were able to finish the tour. Which I love, Fastlane. I don't know how big of fans you guys are, but dude, Fastlane's the shit.
I was like a big fan back in the day. Yes. Still got
my
that
God.
CD kicking about.
Yeah, I remember you being really into them, Nick.
Yeah.
Hey, I like that Sharp Bones band. I don't know if they're still a thing now, because I know him, like many of us, he's at an age where you don't have time to do it full time. So I think they just do the odd recording here and there. But I think they're pretty good.
Well, it's nice when they have, Matt O'Grady, the guitarist of Fastlane, is an insane producer, done stuff for architects and shit like that. So, I talk to him on Instagram and stuff. We check in every once in a while, too, but the dude is just insanely talented. So it's cool that you can have that, and Ben, who's a great vocalist in there, too, and just got some big riffers in there. Just that band never gets enough credit, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
So I guess you talked about that record being your farewell album, and band having kids, and I guess I guess what's everyone up to now, apart from kids? Like you talked the other day about doing kayak tours. Like what's life for everyone like now?
Yeah, so we're all spread out. Nate, my drummer, actually moved to Wilmington, North Carolina, which is like an hour and a half north of me, which is cool. So he's close enough now. I get to see him every once in a while. Kevin lives in Nashville, where most of my friends live in Nashville now. It's like the new LA out here. And then I've got Dave in Detroit. Omar is in Ohio, and Kyle is in Ohio as well. So we're pretty much spread out everywhere. So if you want to get us together, it takes a lot of money.
And are they all working in music, or are they all doing different?
Yeah. So Kevin's playing guitar. Kevin's playing guitar in Joywave right now. He does like writing and stuff on the side. Kyle is in Columbus. He just had another baby boy. He's got a girl and a baby boy. And he is driving trucks right now. Dave is in Detroit, and he is a chef at a restaurant. He's a big cooking guy. He keeps me fat and happy. And Omar has his own studio, Legacy Studios in Lima, Ohio, where he's been doing a lot of kind of like folk and indie artists, making some really cool shit there. And then Nate, he's got his family. He's got 3 kids. Fucking maniac. They have 3 kids in Wilmington, and he runs, I think, a Sprint store out there. He's like, he manages like a bunch of Sprint stores and stuff. So that's what they're up to now. And then I'm down here. I do kayak tours sometimes on the side and write for bands, and been doing my thing here.
Any bands you've written for recently that you want to draw our attention?
Sure.
to?
Well, I mean, like my first. I've done a lot. I have a playlist now I can put on Spotify. You can bands I'm working with currently are there's a band called Gold Steps from Milwaukee that wrote a bunch of songs with. I'll be going to do a video with them next week.
I know them.
Yeah, they've got some new stuff coming out. Killer songs that are just above and beyond anything they've done before. I worked with Forever Came Calling. Did a release with them called Retro Future that is so fucking good. If you love Forever Came Calling, you'll love it. It's great.
Yeah, good songs.
And then a lot of bands that, smaller bands that just like, hey, you want to be on this? Do you want me to help out? And I'll, kind of go in, tidy songs up or whatever, help them write stuff out. Losers Club is a band I just recently wrote for. They should have that song coming out soon. I know. I try to keep up and release them as they go, but pretty random, sporadic, cool bands want me to do cool shit. And if it's cool, I say yes.
And you did a song with one of our friends, although I think you paid for it as part of your downright situation.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, you were actually, I was just going to ask you if you do any of the downright stuff anymore, because me and a couple of friends got another friend a wedding gift. This was about 5 years ago now. And
okay.
You wrote
I know what you're talking about. Like 2 Towers, maybe? Is that the song? Yeah, I did.
That's it, yeah. And it's been funny talking to you this whole time, because you look... Nick, wasting time, Nick. Doesn't Nick look like Tommy Towers?
He looks a bit like Tommy Towers.
Yeah.
No, I definitely look like him. You guys sent me pictures. I was like, yep. That being said, I'm not the most like original. I'm like bald with a big nose and like a beard. It's
exactly
not too hard to look
the
like
sleeves
me.
of tattoos and like exactly.
Ironically, he's a huge hit.
He's
a huge Hit the Lights fan as well.
Yeah.
Well, I've never seen the picture. I was like, yep, can't argue with that. Right. But yeah, I still do. So I still write songs for people and stuff too. I don't do it through Downright. I just do it through my own website now. Yeah. So people hire me every once in a while. I'll open those, like the song shop up every once in a while when I have a time in between projects. So I recently opened it back up. I've got some songs working on for people, and figured maybe if they're okay with it, I'll share them. But I haven't done it in a while, so it's nice to get back into it, and it's good songwriting exercise as well.
You see a lot more of that now as well, just online, and I think what's the site, Chris, that Magnolia Park were using?
Featured X.
Yeah,
there's
a lot of like opportunities now to like.
Yeah, you should get yourself on that, Nick. I reckon a lot of people.
I am.
Oh, you're on it. Oh, okay. Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
Yep. Got things through there, but yeah, it's fun. It's cool. It's especially the writing songs for the people. It's such a beautiful opportunity where you get to make something for someone that they're really gonna like, and at the same time, you're getting to get a view into their life. I loved to I love for people, I just always tell them, give me every fucking detail you can. Give me whatever, let's what the song is about, give me, don't skimp out on any details. A lot of times, if maybe for a wife or something like that.
Sure.
And it's really cool getting to be inside someone else's head or seeing something through someone else's eyes and trying to write to that is a really, really good songwriting exercise, and something I really like to do is just getting involved and becoming someone else for a little bit. It's great.
Cool.
Go on, wasting time, Nick. I don't want to
Wasting
jump
time,
ahead of
Nick.
you.
No, I was just gonna say it feels like a good point to wrap up. Unless you got
I think so. I mean, maybe just before we go, we'll just talk a little bit more about because at the start you mentioned the most recent Thief Club release, Holy City, was like the first one that's just all recorded by yourself. That's come out really recently, so like let's do a bit of a plug for that, and then I guess I just want to ask about future Thief Club releases we might expect, because I'm assuming we're not getting any Hit the Lights releases imminently.
We're in talks now.
Okay.
So we think it's about time to get something else out there. It feels about right. Some of the babies are getting a little older, and we can take some time off. It's really just a matter of being able to clear 2 weeks off to really commit yourself to do it.
Sure.
Because I think we all get the best stuff when we're all working off each other, and it's hard. Everyone's got their own little lives and stuff, so making time for that and getting a time when everyone can get together and do that is really the only barrier we have. And once we get that through, but everyone wants to do it, and like I said, it's about time for us to get something else out there. So any pop punk stuff that I'm writing or in that vein will all go to the Hit the Lights Fund.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So don't know when that'll be yet, but we're working out.
Yeah, because like this, a lot of the more recent Thief Club stuff, I feel, is like moved away from because obviously you've done a lot of pop punk sounding stuff with Thief Club, but I feel like it's been moving away from that a little bit. Is that fair to say?
It has, and I think I finally got a hold on where I actually want to take Thief Club. I have a whole concept idea, so I'll probably release like maybe a 3-song release with some videos and stuff now too. I have some really cool opportunities to make some really, really wild video concepts, and I'm going to utilize that too. And just really just go for it with the Thief Club stuff. Get as weird as I want with that, and it's going to be a very different direction. But I think once you hear it, it's all like, okay, I see how this is slowly started to move over into this. It makes sense.
Got it. Okay. I think unless there's anything else you want to add, wasting time, Nick. It's feeling weird saying that now. We could probably just start to wrap things up now, I think, because we've taken a lot of your time, Nick.
I'm here for it, man. I appreciate you guys having me.
No, it's been a blast, though, man. I want to do this one for a while, so this has been cool.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and if obviously a UK trip, few shows are ever on the table, then yeah, definitely.
Slam Dunk has dropped the ball on us, inviting us the past couple of years. I don't know what's going on, but maybe if we put some new stuff out too, that would help.
Yeah.
Actually, being a band again.